name's Janelle and welcome back to Rosery Apparel. Today I'm back with another thrift shopping or op shopping video. I have to admit that the op shopping this year has been slim pickings, to say the least. Usually when I go op shopping I do manage to find at least one thing to take home with me, but it's definitely not like back in the day where I would spend a whole day op shopping and just find gem after gem. I think there are a few different factors that are causing this. One, op shopping or thrift shopping is just so much more popular than it was back in the day, and two, I think with the rise of Facebook Marketplace, people are just scouring the op shops more than they used to like find things to resell and turn into a profit, which, you know, there's no shame in that game, but it just means that op shopping just isn't what it used to be, unfortunately. But I've been accumulating some recent op shop finds over the last few months, and I finally have enough things to actually be able to sit down and film a substantial video. So yeah, without further ado, here are some of my op shopping adventures from the last few months. The first section I always make a beeline for when I'm at the op shops is the bed sheets and fabric sections to see if I can find any cute fabrics to take home with me. I always like to dig through the fabric bins pretty thoroughly, as you never know what gems might be hiding away at the bottom of the barrel. I then like to head on over to the book section, where I ended up finding a copy of one of my all-time favourites and a few others I've read before. I know Tomorrow is very overhyped, but I absolutely adored it. Next, at the tip shop, I found this wardrobe that I didn't get, but something about the shape of it I really fell in love with. I also found this copy of Little Women, which I've been wanting to read lately, but I feel like this version might have been an abridged version or something, because it was a lot thinner than other copies I've seen, so I ended up leaving it behind, sadly. Then lastly, I saw a couple of gorgeous sewing baskets on top of the shelf at the craft section, and you'll have to wait until the end of this video to see whether or not I ended up taking one of these home with me. Also, can we just have a bit of a moment for this bingo ball spinner? I have absolutely no need for one of these, but for some reason I have major regret for leaving it behind. At the next stop, I again made a beeline straight for the fabrics, and I have to say I'm really loving how this shop displays their fabrics. It just makes it so easy to look through. There were also some pretty vintage floral bed sheets at this stop, and for some reason I was really drawn to these lampshades. Next stop was Vinnie's, which is another favourite of mine. However, it is one of the more pricier shops. They have so many cute retro bits and pieces, and I literally screamed internally when I saw this gorgeous hand-stitched tablecloth until I saw the price of it. I don't know, at the time I just thought $35 was way too much to spend on a secondhand tablecloth, so I sadly left it behind. Do I kind of regret that now? Yes I do. Then at the book section I found this copy of Picnic at Hanging Rock, which is actually the same copy I own and is honestly just such a pretty copy of this book. I also found the Lucy Worsley biography of Jane Austen that I've been wanting to get my hands on for so long, so needless to say, I picked that one up. Then at the back of the store, they have all of their fabric bits and craft supplies, which are always so fun to look through. I often find the most interesting, old, forgotten craft bits and pieces in this section, so it's always definitely worth a look. Then the last stop I think is my favourite op shop in my area. It is almost curated like an antique shop, but still has the prices of an op shop. And how satisfying is their rainbow bric-a-brac display? There are so many hidden gems on these shelves, you could literally look through it all day. So now that we've done the op shopping, let me show you all of the bits and pieces I have managed to find over the last few months. So even though nowadays I'm not able to find the same amount of gems I would usually find when I would go op shopping, I have still, over the last few months, picked up some truly dream items. One in particular, I just can't quite believe I managed to find this one item. I think I'm going to leave that one to the end because it's the creme of the crop and I'm just so excited about it. But yeah, I've got a mixture of books, homewares, fabrics, and just other miscellaneous bits and pieces. So let's jump in, and I think I'll start with the fabric finds. The first find is just a little remnant of fabric, but I just had to pick it up because it's so pretty. It's this floral upholstery fabric. This piece cost me $2 from Vinnie's, which is the notoriously expensive op shop in my area. So yeah, this is definitely not worth $2, but it was so pretty I couldn't pass it up, and I actually picked up a book at this op shop that matched this fabric perfectly, so I just felt like I had to get it. I'll show you that book in a minute. This design probably has a name, I don't know it, but it's a very classic vintage floral print. But yeah, if you happen to know the name of it, please let me know in the comments below. I don't know, there was just something about the print, the colors of it, I just feel like it's so pretty, and it is the perfect size to make maybe a little cushion. The next item is this adorable cream fabric with the tiniest little peach tulip print. There's about 1 meter or 2 worth of fabric here, and this piece cost me $1, which was a complete bargain. Definitely not enough to make an item of clothing or anything, and I probably wouldn't make an item of clothing just because these aren't really my colors, but I like to have fabric like this in my scrap stash for when I make smaller sewing projects. So yeah, I thought this was a really great find. Next I have this dark navy blue floral fabric. This piece cost me $2, and it's just, oh, it's actually a whole heap of remnants. But again, I didn't actually pick this one up to make clothes out of. I just really like the print and thought it would be a fun one to add to my scrap fabrics for smaller projects as well. So many random bits and pieces, wow. Did not realize that. Then the last fabric I have is this sheer floral fabric. This one cost me $3, and it's 2 meters by 1 meter wide. This is quite different to my usual taste, but it is so like such a retro color combo that I was really drawn to it. And even though it's sheer and I don't know what I would make from it, I decided to pick it up for $3. I think it's a really pretty print, just something a bit different, and it is increasingly becoming harder and harder to find beautiful fabrics at the op shop. So when I do see something like this, I just can't help myself, I have to pick it up. And again, this one will probably just sit in my scrap fabric for when the perfect project comes up. Next, to go along with the sewing theme, I actually found a sewing basket. Here it is. How incredibly gorgeous is this? I just love the kind of like wicker outer shell of this basket. But then the top has this padded fabric lid, which the fabric is quite faded, but it is beautiful. But I kind of have visions of recovering this and giving it a new lease of life. And inside the basket, there's this plastic little compartment shelf where you can put pins and scissors and all other bits and pieces like that. And then inside there is a whole heap of room to keep all your different sewing projects. I obviously could not pass this one up. It cost $6, which is a complete bargain for what it is, and I think it would be really fun to try and recover the lid. And as a basket enthusiast, this sewing box is like my dream sewing box. I am in love with it. Now let's go on to some homewares bits and pieces. The first two I picked up are again inspiring me to do a bit of DIY. They are these 2 lampshades. One of the op shops I went to in particular just had, I don't know, I reckon like 20 to 30 of these lampshades. These 2 in particular caught my eye because I just adore the shape of them. This was the first one I picked up. It was $6 and it's just a simple white lampshade. But again, the shape of it, the like perfect typical lampshade shape just really inspired me, and I mainly bought it for the frame so I could potentially recover the lampshade in different fabrics and stuff. It's a project I've never really done. I have made like gathered lampshades before, but I've never made a more traditional lampshade like this, so I think it could be a really fun project. I also love the size of this one. It's just a little bit smaller, and I think it could work really well on a lamp or even as like a light shade fitting for the main light in the room. But then I found this one, which is slightly bigger. It has the trim and everything, so yeah, I definitely want to give this one a makeover. But again, the frame itself just has a really great shape, and I think it could be fun to make my own lampshade. This one would be perfect for like a standing lamp. I think it was like a very big craft in the 80s or 90s, and you know, all that style has just come back in such a big way. So yeah, I'm keen to do a bit of research and see if I can recover these lampshades to make them a little bit more my style. And yeah, please let me know if that's something you would be interested in seeing. Like, I could potentially make a whole video about the process. So yeah, very much looking forward to that. Next, I have this random picture of a ship. This cost me $2. Something I'm always looking through at the op shop is through all the different art pieces and framed goods. You can often find some A, beautiful frames, or B, some just really interesting artwork, and I just kind of fell in love with this ship. I love the blue color of the print, and yeah, we live on the water, so it's kind of nice to have nautical themed things in our house, I think. Next, I have this pot plant. It is the cutest peachy pot plant, especially on our like patio area. I've got quite a few pot plants popping up, and some of them need pots, so when I find one that is in the same kind of terracotta peachy theme that I've got going on, I get really excited, and this one was no exception. It's a pretty good size, but the shape of it is just so cute, and this pot cost me $8. Next, I have some books. I cannot go to the op shop these days and not look through the book section, and I managed to find 3 books that I'm really excited about. The first one is a book I've had on my want to read list since I saw it in a bookshop once, and that is called Carla by Colin Walsh. This is set in the seaside town of Kinlow on Ireland's west coast, and I just love when books have a particular setting like that. It's one of the reasons why I love reading so much, is to be transported into a different country and different place. And yeah, the book just sounds really interesting. I'll have the blurb on the screen now if you want to pause and have a read. But yeah, I was really excited to see it because I did almost buy it at a bookshop once. And there's this kind of scribble on the front of the cover, but I think it is part of the cover. Next, I have Happy Place by Emily Henry. I've not read an Emily Henry book, but obviously they are all the rage. Everyone raves about them. I'm not a massive romance reader, like it's not my preferred genre to read, but how could I pass it up at the op shop? I've never seen an Emily Henry book at the op shops before because they're not as big here in Australia. I think they're just becoming a bigger thing now. I found this one for $3. I feel like this one gets talked about a lot in particular. I think the premise is there is a couples trip and one of the couples breaks up just before the trip, and then they kind of have to pretend they're still together to keep all their friends happy, which does sound fun. I guess. But like I said, I've just heard such great things about Emily Henry books. They're just kind of like a little bit of a chill, easy rom-com type of read. I might even save this one for summertime because yeah, I feel like the cover especially screams summer. And then this is the book that matches that fabric I bought at the same op shop on the same day. It is Jane Austen at Home by Lucy Worsley. It's a biography about Jane Austen. I've wanted to read this for so long, and again, I found it at the bookshop, but at the moment it's a special edition to celebrate 250 years since Jane Austen's death or birth. Something to do with Jane Austen. So it's a really expensive edition. It's like $50. So of course I haven't bought it yet, but then I found the original edition at the op shop for $6. And yeah, how good is it when your op shop finds match so nicely like this? I'm really excited to read this book. I've heard great things about Lucy Worsley and her biographies, so very happy to have this book in my collection. The next lot of books I picked up, let me just grab them. It is this pile of random bits and pieces here. Basically, I have been getting into junk journaling in a big way, and so I wanted to look for some, you know, old books and magazines that I could use for ephemera for my junk journal, and yeah, I managed to find so many things. Obviously, I found some Frankie magazines, which is really great because even though I have a heap of Frankies, I don't like cutting them up because they're like a special collection of mine, and I don't want to cut up the ones I own and have purchased. So I found a bunch of Frankie magazines for $2 each. This one here has already even had something cut out of it, which is great because that's exactly what I'm going to be doing with them as well. I'm sure you know all about Frankie, but their magazines just have the most beautiful design and imagery and are just perfect for a bit of scrapbooking. I also found just some random books. Like I found this The Australian Scented Garden, which just has a whole heap of beautiful imagery of flower gardens, and also just like the pages themselves have illustrations and things that I think would look really beautiful in a journal. I found some more gardening books that again just have the most beautiful images inside. Black and white ones as well, it's coloured, which are fun, and even some like illustrations again, and even some like really cool graphics as well. And look at the back of this one. It is just so pretty. I can't wait to cut this out and use it in a spread. These were all $3 each, which I think is a bargain. I also got this random Romatov book just because, again, the images are so retro and just a vibe. This one is filled with recipes too, which I feel like ripped out and put into a journal would look really cool. I love that this one's also got a little hand-typed recipe tucked in there as well. Love that. And then I've got one last recipe book, the Terrace Times Cookbook. First of all, I just love the shape of this book. Like, how cool is it? And again, inside there are just some gorgeous illustrations as well as recipes. I feel almost bad cutting this one up, but I just think it's going to look so beautiful in my journal. The illustrations are just, look at that. So beautiful. This one was only $2. I showed Matt all of these when I got home and he was like, you cannot cut that up. It is so cool. So yeah, verdict's out whether or not I will actually cut into this one because it is such a random cute little book. And now I have the final item to share with you and I cannot believe I managed to find this. Let me just grab it and show you. This is a porcelain enamel whistling tea kettle with the most gorgeous strawberry print on it. Like, this is how it was sitting on the shelf, like just in the box, and I was like, oh, that's cool. It must still have its original packaging, but no, this has not ever been used. It's still in all the original plastic packaging, but look at this little guy. I am completely obsessed. It's got the lid, it's got the little handle that still needs to be attached, and it's got the spout that whistles. And what I love about this is we've actually got like a little wood heater in our kitchen that has a little hot plate to put a whistling kettle, so this is just going to be perfect. I don't think this would suit everyone, but it's just perfect for me. So happy with that. So yeah, that is everything I have found from the op shops over the last probably 3 or 4 months. I would love to know in the comments below which of these items was your favorite find. I have to say I think it is the whistling tea kettle, but otherwise I would have to also say the sewing basket. Such a perfect find, perfect for me, and this is why I love op shopping so much, because you just find one-of-a-kind items for your home, and yeah, it's just so exciting as well to find that perfect piece that is just perfect for you. I'm also really excited by the Lucy Worsley book. I had, like I said, just really wanted to add this book to my shelf, and I'm so excited to read it. All in all, it has been a very successful few months of op shopping. If you enjoyed this video, I would really appreciate it if you could give it a like, and thank you so much for watching this video until the very end, and I'll see you in the next one.